Today is Saturday, June 11th, 2016, and this is the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers Call-In Show, presented by Evil Bunny Consulting. I'm your host, Tyrone Griffin, and if it's 3 p.m. and you have on your bunny slippers, you are not looking for a job. Welcome, first-time and returning listeners. In this show, we discuss strategies and tactics of job search, staying motivated, and dealing with career transition. For more tips, resources, daily motivations, and to listen to archive shows, go to the website, bunnyslippersofevil.com. There you'll also find links to our Facebook page, our Twitter handle, and our YouTube channel. If you're listening live, you can call in with your questions at 347-202-0929. Again, that number is 347-202-0929. Now, a word from our sponsors. Evil Bunny Consulting is the alternative to expensive outplacement. They give company-sponsored job search workshops as well as a one-on-one job search bootcamp. For more information, go to bunnyslippersofevil.com. Resume Edit is the high-quality resume writing company of certified resume writers, starting at just $35. You can find them online at resume4edit.com or call 404-860-2473. Be sure to tell them you heard about them on the Bunny Slippers of Evil Job Seekers podcast. Let 3dresumes.net turn your resume to a web page with a customized domain for 12 months for only $30. Help hiring managers and recruiters find you, make your resume available 24/7, and get a professional personal email address just for your job search. You can see my online resume at tyronegriffin.com, and for more information on how to get your own, go to 3dresumes.net. If you're thinking or about to look for a job in today's world, you will find a new reality in the job search process. The world has changed. Job search today is much more complicated than 5 years ago. Volumes of resumes, more applicant screening systems, depersonalized applications, panel interviews, team hiring, long complicated applications, branding and social media. Yep, the world has changed. But have you? Are you still trying yesterday's approach? Why struggle to miss out on today's opportunity? Career Oyster is here to help. Great coaches, the latest resources, unique strategies personally tailored for your job search. Find out the new reality and how you can prevent costly mistakes. To register for a free 45-minute private session with head coach Howard Caddy, go to careeroyster.com. Find out the facts now. You'll be glad you did. Remember their motto, the world is your oyster, be the pearl. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week of the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Had a week off, and I feel great. And, this morning I went to the gym, so I'm really good. Excuse me for my attire. I got back and haven't had a chance to shower. So I got the little hair thing going on. I don't have much hair, but the little bit I have is kind of sticking straight up. So anybody watching the video going, why has he got an afro? So I apologize. But anyway, first things, let's do something we haven't talked about in a little while, was the financial challenge for the year. The goal was to put away $1 a week and add $1 to what you put away. So first week of the year, you put away $1. The second week, you put $2. The third week, you put $3, and so on. It's now week 23. And if you've been doing this right now, you have $276 in your kitty. So because you put $23 away this week. So next week, you'll be putting $24. So anyway, if you're doing that challenge, just keep it up. By the end of the year, you'll have over $1,000 in your pot. So it's a quick way to do it. Besides vacation, this past week, I was blessed with the opportunity to speak at the Steve Harvey Mentoring Camp for Young Boys. I gave a presentation on cyberbullying. Unfortunately, I didn't tape it, but for those of you who saw it on my, I mentioned it on my Facebook page, and for the kind comments I got from that, I appreciate it. It was a great opportunity. It came out of nowhere, and I was really fortunate to get it, and I was really happy to do it. So I'm just trying to keep things moving. See what else we got for housekeeping. I think that's about it. So this week, for newcomers, every month, what I've been trying to do is come up with a theme for the month. Instead of just doing random shows on different topics, try to come up with a theme. I'm working on something right now, an interview right now. Hopefully, almost was going to have it today, but I think we're going to have it next week at this point. I won't say who it's with, but she's kind of famous right now on Facebook, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, that's next. I think that's going to be next week. Right now, the way things are looking, it's going to be next week. But keep an eye on the Facebook feed, and you'll see, in the Twitter and everything else, and you'll see what's coming up. So, but anyway, other than that show, this month's theme, is red flags. And today we're going to talk about red flags with respect to fear and depression in your job search. Um, Try to explain how I'm thinking of this, how it was into my mind. I'm not a psychologist, so I won't get into issues of depression, how to handle it and things like that, because it's not my wheelhouse. But what happens when you have fear and depression? Let me back up. When you're in long-term job search, in long-term, the definition of long-term varies. It could be, for some people, long-term is a month. Some people, long-term is 6 months. Some people, long-term is a year, depending on what your personal, however you feel about it. But what can happen after a while is that you will you'll have an effect on you, and there's two ways it can affect you. Or the fear and depression can affect you. One is obviously in your job search, and the other is not in your job search but in your personal life. So let's talk about how the long-term effects of depression and fear in job search, how it can affect you. One thing you start doing, and the reason I say these things is because I want you to look out and see if you're in long-term job search, see if you're doing these things, and if you are, then maybe you need to be aware of them. I always feel like my shoulders are not even, but anyway, it's just me. Sorry, rat hole. First thing, when you've been in job search for a while, you'll tend to stop, or not stop, but you might tend to stop looking at opportunities. And what I mean by that is when you first end up in transition, you're hungry. You're probably very scared, extremely scared probably when you first find yourself in that situation, as well as, but you're hungry. You're very hungry because you're like, okay, let me make this transition last like 15 minutes and let me get back to work. So you're trying to do everything you can to get back. Well, what happens is after a while, if you've been out there, it can wear on you. It's like anything. If you do something unpleasant long enough, it will start to affect you. People in jail, why I just thought about that, but you think about people who are in prison. Think about how they are the first 2 or 3 days of their sentence versus the next 47 years of it. You have a different enthusiasm. But what can end up happening, when you're first in transition, you see opportunities everywhere. You're looking, you update all your social media maybe, but you update all the job networking sites, Career Builder, Indeed, Simply Hired, LinkedIn, Dice, whatever. You're updating your stuff, and you're looking at all these opportunities, and you're seeing you're enthused about okay, this is not going to last long, and I'm going to be out of this soon. Over time, that enthusiasm wears off. It's like look at puppies. A newborn puppy jumping around all over the place. A little kid jumping around all over the place. Once you've been out there in this life a while, you kind of like, all right, let me slow down. But in job search, when you're in transition, you really can't afford to lose that enthusiasm. You just can't afford to. So over time, you'll just start to stop seeing opportunity. You'll start ignoring opportunities. Remember, think about the first email you got. Maybe you signed up to, somebody, one of the job search sites, and you left a saved search agent. And the first day you got an email with maybe 15 or 20 jobs in it. And think about how you were enthused, and you were looking through it. You looked at every job. You looked at every position that was in there. And you looked at it, maybe you clicked on a lot of them, like, okay, let me run this horse to exhaustion before I get to the next one. And you did that on every one. And maybe after a few months, you see the email you get every day, and you start scanning it. You just start scanning in bunches. No. So you're possibly missing out on opportunities. Say you're seeing Actually, got notes again this week, people. You're getting, the emails. You're getting calls, maybe, and you're, I don't want to deal with that. One thing we'll talk about in another show, but one thing when you'll notice when you first update your, I think it was Monster and a couple of those websites. Once you first update your resume, upload a new resume, you'll start getting a lot of emails, and maybe a few calls for sales opportunities, and they don't necessarily show themselves right up front as, oh, this is a sales opportunity. It's like, would you like to make a lot of money? Come to this seminar we have, and blah blah blah. And you go down, maybe, and I went through a few of these. There was a collections job that was pretty much full commission. A lot of those jobs, those are the kinds of things you'll get a lot of hits for those. But you'll also get a lot of hits for other things. And what you have to do is the hardest thing about transition is you got to get up every day like it's your first day. Period. You got to get up every day like it is your first day. Okay, like it is your first day transition. You got to get up with that same enthusiasm. You have to get up with that same desire, that same energy. You can't let what happened or didn't happen yesterday or what didn't happen last week affect you today, because you in transition every day you have to keep going. Anyway, you might start ignoring some of the emails you get, and I know a lot of some things there are other issues surrounding it, like I was going to say, not going to say, I'm saying you stop going to networking events. And I know one of the reasons people sometimes stop going to networking events is because of finance, because it just, they cost. And I don't have any income coming in, so I'm not going to this month's meeting of the, whatever, He-Man Woman Haters Club, or whatever it is. Yeah, shout out to Little Rascals. But different networking events for different industries, different groups or whatever, you may stop going to them because you say, I don't see the benefit of it, because nobody is reaching out to me. I'll give you a personal example, and I'm not going to say the organization because I don't want to throw them under the bus, but it was an MBA organization that I went to years and years ago, and I went to the meetings, and I was working at the time. It was in a bad situation, but I was working. And I go to their meetings, their monthly meetings, and, there were people there, and, they wanted to look important, and I'm going to be blunt about it. People were concerned about looking important than anything else. And, people would give you your cards. Oh, yeah, give me a call tomorrow. Let's talk about, what kind of opportunities you're looking for, and maybe we can do something. And invariably, I talked to, gosh, I can't even tell you how many people. And people wouldn't return your phone calls. You call them, leave a message, you send them an email, and, they just wouldn't respond. And, you slowly realize that a lot of people in that particular organization were more about going to the meeting and showing off their business card than they were about actually doing something to help. And again, they weren't there to help me. They were there because of the organization. But, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And so that might be one reason that you stop going to networking events. But what I would say, do before you just make the blanket decision to stop, get wiser, or get more selective about what networking events you do go to, and have a purpose for each networking event that you're going to. Maybe there's somebody there you want to interact with. Maybe there's a topic they're discussing. But it's one of the few times I'll say be selfish. It's all about you. It's like, okay, I'm going to this networking event. I'm going to pay $25 or $30, whatever it is it costs to come in. What am I getting out of this? That's one way to fight off the depression and the fear and the anxiety, in job search. Instead of just blankly going to every networking event, Be more focused. Be more intentional with your networking. That's a word. Be intentional with all your networking. Everything you do, there's a reason you're going to this event. Who are you trying to meet? And even if you have to write it down, there's a reason you're going to this event. You are trying to meet this person. You want to learn about this topic that they're discussing. So have a reason for what you're doing. That's one way to fight. You know. But yeah, say, you stop going to networking events. You might stop networking in general, after you've been out for a while. That's a red flag. If you realize, I'm not getting out of the house. One of the things I've said, even if you can't afford a gym membership, you probably got a pair of sneakers or a pair of comfortable shoes. Get out of the house. You find out you've been in the house for 4 days and you haven't left, 3 or 4 days or whatever. Now, I've told the story here about one time when I was in transition, a few of us got concerned because we hadn't heard from someone in a while, in about a week or so, one of the people in transition. And, nobody, that's one thing about people in transition, we don't know where each other lives. We might have each other's phone number, but, we're not hanging out at each other's house. And we had to, kind of do an intervention, find somebody who knew where the person lived, and have somebody go do a drive-by, knock on the door, make sure the person was okay. Person was okay, but yeah, they were in that depressed mode where, not Depeche Mode, but they were in that depressed mode. Shout out to some group from the 80s, where they hadn't left the house for a couple of days, and it was good that somebody went over and was able to, talk to them and, how it was good. It was good just somebody. I got distracted for a second. I apologize, but it was good that somebody was able to go over there. But anyway, that's one of the things you need to look out for. Are you sitting in the house all day? Are you becoming that hermit? Ain't a reason to go outside. I ain't going. Jobs out there. But get out and go walk, man. Every day, just go get out of the house. If it's raining, take an umbrella. But just go, even if you just walk around the house, but just get out of the house because it'll start to close in on you. As someone who sometimes suffers from claustrophobia, it's hard to explain, claustrophobia to people who don't get it. I was, my vacation last week. I went to Disney World, and I won't say I defeated it, but there were rides that I rode this year with my son, graduated, yay, that I wouldn't have ridden, that I didn't ride last year because that closed-in feeling. And for all of you who never met me, I'm 6'4", I'm a big, strong, husky-looking guy. But no, but I can't sit in a plane. I can't sit by the window on a plane trip, because you got this wall here, you got the seat in front of you that's hitting your knees, so it's like really closed in. So it's hard to explain that. And, the funniest thing, I know this is a rat hole, but claustrophobia. The funniest thing, well, it's funny when you think about it. One of the problems I have with some rides is I have this fear that the people working the ride are going to go home and leave us there. I know that makes no sense, but Mission Space, not a bad ride. I can't get on that because there's something right here and there's something right here, and you're in there, and it's like, if these people went home, we are literally stuck in here. There's no way for us to get out. I know it makes no sense. Okay, that was a rat hole. Drinking game. Take 2 sips off of that one. But you start to feel that way if you're in the house. You think, well, house is a big place, but if you haven't left the house in a couple of days, you're in transition, and maybe you don't have, you live alone, you're in an apartment or whatever, and there's nobody there but you. That will start to close in on you. You'll get that claustrophobic feeling. So those are red flags that, you need to do something. But on the, so those are things in your actual job search that will affect, the actual activity of job search, because you're not reading the emails as enthusiastic maybe as you used to, and not responding to them. People may be calling you or texting you. It's like, hey, let's get together. And no, I don't want to. Somebody might send you a text, or email, hey man, let's do lunch sometime, and you don't because you don't want to or whatever. You're feeling that I don't want to do it. I just want to sit in the house and be sad. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making fun of transition because it sucks, and I tell you point blank, it sucks. But those are the red flags, that maybe I'm in a spiral, not a death spiral, but it could become one. I don't know. But if you find yourself, if you're not as enthusiastic, and yay, if you've been in transition a long while, a couple of months, you'll find yourself that, you're not as enthusiastic. Maybe you're not looking at every email as, oh yeah, it's a great opportunity to network or something. I want a job. If this email doesn't have a job attached to it, what am I to do with it? That's the reality. That's how people feel. But anyway, so that's how it affects your job search. And it kind of, again, I've mentioned some things. It kind of affects your personal life. You feel that closed in. That's going to affect you personally. You stop socializing. You don't want to. Somebody invites you to a cookout, and you don't go, because there's people there. There's kind of people everywhere. There's about 6 or 7 billion of us on the planet, and not everybody is waiting to point fingers at you and go, he or she is out of work. Everybody's not doing that. I know it feels that way sometimes. But those, again, red flags that, maybe this is starting to affect me. So again, what do you do about it? I said, get out of the house every day. That's number one. Get out of the house. Walk around the block. Smell the fresh air. If you're in an apartment, go downstairs. Walk around the parking lot. If you just walk around the parking lot just to get out of the house so that it doesn't all close in on you. That's one thing. Emails. Be intentional. When you see an email with opportunities, force yourself to be intentional. What I mean by that is force yourself to look at every job opportunity. And excuse me, I apologize for that. I've been up about 5 hours now. But be intentional about, give each email. You got to if you get an email if you're on my mailing list, you might get a bunch of jobs. Give each job, commit to, and this sounds really crazy, spending 3 seconds on each line. Now, it might not sound like a big deal, but think about how much time you're spending when you're just scanning down the list. But intentionally say, I am going to spend 3 seconds and read every opportunity that comes. And sure, it may not be a job, but in those emails, it may not be the job, but it could be things that lead to the job. Networking is not a job, but it can lead to a job. You have to remember that everything you're doing in your transition is about leading to a job. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get there. This is a journey, and everything, your emails, your socializing, your networking, it's all on the path. Okay, it's all on the path of getting a job. So no, the job will not fall out of the sky. Here's a job, ding, light comes on and everything's happy. No, that's not how it's going to work. Everything is going to be a step. So you have to keep taking the steps on the journey, and you can't let transition and you can't let depression and fear stop you from taking those steps. One thing you might find yourself doing because of depression is you change your routine. Maybe you were going to the gym every day and you stopped going. Maybe you got up every day and had breakfast, certain time, certain thing you did every day, and you stopped doing it. Maybe on the weekends you went and got your newspaper and you stopped doing it. And you think, well, I need to save the money. And yeah, that's a legitimate issue. But maybe you were somebody who got up every morning and did yoga, before you went to work. And now that you're out of work, you don't get up and do yoga anymore because I got to focus on my job. All is having a job and everything. It's all about regulating. having a good life. That's really the big scope, the big picture. To have a good life, you've decided there are certain things you do. Again, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's walking, exercising, whatever, eating healthy, whatever. These are things that you decided that you wanted to do to help yourself have a good life. But when you get in transition, maybe you get away from those things. Maybe you stop. And those are red flags. So maybe you need to just sit down on a Saturday and look at your your life. Look at what you're doing. Look at if you have changed things that you're doing. If you have gotten out of your routine. I'm one of those people, and this sounds crazy. I'm in a position where I can work from home 3 days a week if I wanted to. Not a problem. No, I go to work every day. Yeah, I fight Atlanta traffic 5 days a week. And people think I am out of my ever-loving mind. Why do I do it? It's my routine. I get up, go to the gym, do what I got to do, come home, jump in the shower, get dressed, go to work. When I take a day off, it shifts my routine off because I don't have the same time constraints as I have on those days. And I'm in a couple of ways. Well, one way, I think I'm like Steve Jobs. I'm not putting myself on that pedestal, but he wore like pretty much the same thing every day. And Einstein, had a bunch of same clothes, because I don't want to think about it. To me, going into work every day, you just do it. When I started working, you went to work every day. There was no casual Fridays. There was no, cut out early. You just worked. You did your 40 hours. That's what you did. So that's just what I do. But that's my routine. It helped me because when I was in transition, I got up every day. I went to the gym, showered, came home, and went to my office. I've told you this story. Went to Panera Bread every day. That was my office. That's what I did. But that was my routine. I kept to my routine so that when I landed, I already had my routine. And I got up in the morning, went to the gym, and went to work. That's just simply what you do. Or that's what I did. And that's what I do. So I know pretty much my routine every day. I'm a Law and Order fan, so if I ever get pulled over by the police, an investigation or something, what were you doing on this day? Like, what day of the week was it? What time? I can tell you exactly where I was. Because I follow the same routine every day. But keep an eye on yourself to see if you're getting out of your routine. Last thing was reducing the acceptance of your situation. That can be a big issue. Never accept your situation, not just in transition, in life. When you get back to work, never accept your transition. Always try to improve your situation. Never accept it. I've known people who were, when they were working, they were great, and they were enthusiastic and everything else. And now that they were in transition, they just accepted it. Oh, I'm in transition. I don't have a job. And as a result, it got harder for them because they accepted and they started to internalize that, I can't do better. And, that's not a pretty thing. So anyway, those are the red flags. And I know I jumped around a bit and I apologize. I had notes actually, but those are some red flags in your job search that I think you need to be aware of. So anyway, thank you for listening. If you are listening live on the site, please subscribe in iTunes and leave feedback if you would, because that'll help other people find the show. It may help my rankings, and I truly appreciate it, good or bad. It is what it is. If you have a suggestion for a podcast topic or a 1-minute bunny tip, send it to me at Tyrone@bunnyslippersrevo.com. I am going to get the bunny tips back out, I promise. When you land, please don't forget us. Please support this show by visiting our Cafe Press store and buying a T-shirt, a coffee bottle, a coffee pot, coffee mug, a water bottle, clock, or sweatshirt. It will help support the show, and I truly appreciate it. And it will give you a memento this time, because I don't want you to forget it. Because the moment you forget what it's like to be in transition is the moment you set yourself up for being in transition again. With that, everybody, thank you again for listening and watching. And we'll talk again next week. Take care, and bye-bye.